Going back to when you were 3, I want to hear about what it was where you knew that you were meant to be a writer. What was it you were doing at 3? That's fascinating.
My mother was an orphan, and she had a photographic memory, and she would recount these stories of her orphanage experience. And I really believed that we were all meant to just remember everything and to tell these stories to other people. And so I would remember, like I would go back and remember, well, what was I doing a year ago in school? What was I doing a week ago in school? Or who said to me at what time, you know, what was I saying or doing? And I started sort of telling myself my own story and thinking, in the future, I will tell people these stories that I'm thinking myself as a child. And then I loved reading, and I loved imagining other worlds and putting myself in other worlds. And so that was just always, and then from a storyteller, I became fascinated by why stories affect us. Why am I in terms of endearment and I'm just weeping? How is it that something I'm seeing from people I don't know is making me cry? And so I just became really fascinated at the mechanics of creating emotion in stories.
So when you say overthinking and sort of is it almost like it has its roots in meditation where you're turning off the mind in some sense?
You are. And so this process that I've developed, because you need guideposts, right? And it's kind of, the way I think about it is like this. If you're telling a story, you need to know the genre. You need to know what you want to create, what feeling you want to generate. And that genre, that destination, is like saying, I want to go to Phoenix, right? That's your guidepost. I'm going to Phoenix, I'm telling a love story. Now, how you get to Phoenix could have a number of different ways. And so what you have to think about is, well, along this route, where do I want to stop? Where are my scenes? Well, maybe Palm Springs, maybe Joshua Tree, maybe we want to take a big detour down to Baja, right? You can do that, but you know you're getting to Phoenix. And so the way I think about story is to give you those guideposts of the act structure, the end of the first act, the midpoint, the end of the second act, the climax. So those are your guideposts, like saying I'm going to hit Palm Springs and Joshua Tree and Baja. And then and you can create the visuals, you can create you can create the scenes around those places because you know you got to get there. But once you know those guideposts, you know there's a journey to those places. And you can relax in knowing that the journey has an organic flow and you don't have to force it. And you can relax and let your meditative mind take over how you get there. Because you know you're going to stop in Palm Springs and have a wonderful experience. You know you're going to stop in Joshua Tree and have a wonderful experience. And then ultimately you'll get to Phoenix, which is your climax, and you can imagine what's going to happen there. So it's kind of releasing your mind from needing to know how you get there, and instead just imagining wonderful destinations along the journey. I don't know if that's clear at all, but I'm trying to think of another way to say it. When you're looking to tell a story, there's an emotion that you want to create. There's two skills to learn. One is the means of generating emotion, whether it's generating how somebody's going to cry in a love story or how to create suspense in a thriller. And then there's the story you want to tell. And that story can be very organic. It can be really who you are. And the tools of genre and the tools of storytelling allow you to take the internal you and make it into something that an audience will want to see. But you don't have to control it to get there. You can do it in a more organic way.